I work in a 24/7 diner. Last night's customers weren't human. You know how it only takes a few small accidents to make you homeless? An emergency expense here, a couple of overdraft fees there, a rent check that bounced because of the fees, and an eviction notice that happened because of the bounce. I went from stable, albeit not wealthy, to sleeping in my car within 4 weeks, and I count myself lucky. At least I have a car and a job, which is why I have this story. I work the overnight shift at an all-night dinner. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't. They never close. They're always hiring and they don't really care about your background. It was the quiet hours when the time is so late. It's early. The diner was empty, so I was leaning against the counter eating a bowl of chili with shredded cheese and chopped onion while I scrolled for other jobs on my phone. The cook was outside having a smoke, and the only other person in the diner with me was a young pregnant girl named Sheer, who was texting her grandmother nervously. I'm gonna have to leave early. My grandma is telling me I need to come get my child. I hate when she does this, but I can't afford a babysitter either. She was cool, but like everyone else here, she was having a rough time. Her boyfriend was in prison 60 miles down the road, and part of why she worked here was to fill his accounts and have enough money for regular visits. He was there for murder or something. But we don't really talk about our personal lives, so I wasn't sure. Brucius, who was the cook, and he took a smoke break at every available opportunity, which, when the restaurant was empty, meant a lot of opportunity. He'd wander back if a customer walked in, but there was no reason to bother him otherwise. Hey, it's not a problem. I'll handle everything. Go pick up your kid. Thank you. You're a lifesaver. I owe you. Don't worry about it. I'll see you Wednesday. She ran out the door and I don't think anything of it. I heard her say goodbye to Brucius and then her car engine grind as she drove away. I had another 4 hours left on my shift, and with any luck, it will stay this quiet. Of course, since I'm talking to you, you know I wasn't so lucky. The door dinged, and a family of 4 walked in: mom, dad, boy, and girl. My eyes flicked to the parking lot. I didn't see a car, but I just told myself they could have parked behind the building. It's funny, but I don't remember what they looked like. However, I do remember what they were because it was some real Leave It to Beaver Andy Griffith type shit. The dad had on blue plaid button-up shirt with a white undershirt beneath and a khaki trousers. His hair was perfectly slicked back like one of those old Bryceland ads. The mom wore a red gingham check dress with a white skirt, crinoline, and cinch waist. Okay, cinched waist. Her hair was too impeccable, straight out of an old Betty Crocker commercial. The little girl had her hairs in two pigtails, anointed with yellow bows, and was wearing a pink shirt and blue shorts. The boy had a perfect cowlick and wore a blue shirt and red shorts. I felt unsettled. They looked perfect, but they felt wrong. Brocious came back inside, took one long look at the family as they settled into a booth, then went through the swinging door into the back without a word. Rude. Good evening, y'all, I said as I set down the laminate menus. Can I get you anything to drink? Each member of the family clasped their hands over the menu and turned in my direction with a smile. Yeah, boo, they want you. I'm sorry. 4 glasses of milk, please, said the dad, his tone falsky, like something out of an old sitcom. Everything looks so delicious, said the mom cheerily without glancing at the menu. Okay. I couldn't remember the last time I'd seen adults order milk, especially at such late hour. Thank you, the dad said when I set their glasses down. No one had moved 1 centimeter, their posture and faces in the same position as they watched me pour their beverages and return. I whipped my hands on my apron and attempted a smile. Are you all ready to order? The 4 of them glanced towards my name tag in unison, and I was suddenly glad most of it was hidden beneath my hoodie. We're waiting for someone, said the mom in a sing-song voice. They all turned to face either other, small identical smiles on their faces, condensation from their untouched glasses making 4 tiny puddles. I wasn't right for children. It wasn't right for children to be that quiet, or for anyone to be that still. To be honest, it wasn't normal to wait someone at that hour either. I pretended to wipe down the counters. Guests weren't supposed to be left alone, and I didn't know what to do. Are you sure I can bring you anything? I asked after a couple distressingly silent minutes. We told you, we're waiting. One of the children hissed. Oh my god, it was like, we told you, we're waiting. I started and dropped the rag. That wasn't a child's voice. All 4 sets of eyes again fixated on me, but this time no one was smiling. My heartbeat rushed in my ears, and I could have sworn they heard it too. Okay, I laughed nervously, my voice a little too high. Abruptly, out of the corner of my eye, I saw Brocious waving frantically behind the swing doors, gesturing me to join him in the back. Relieved to have an excuse to leave, I backed away slowly, something deep in my most primal brain telling me not to turn my back to them. Rules be damned. I couldn't be out there alone with them a second longer. I'd barely opened and swinging doors when he jerked me all the way in. Listen, he whispered urgently, his grip tight on my arm. Those people out there aren't real people. I looked back through the small window in the swinging door. I don't, he interrupted me. What? I don't have the, what I don't have is time to explain. You see that bag of salt? He jerked his head towards a gigantic size of pure rock salt I'd somehow never seen since working here. Bro, you're working at a restaurant. There is no salt there, like what the fuck? Pour a line at the front. Make sure it's far enough back that the swinging door won't break the line. It needs to go all the way from one wall to another. Pour extra if you're not sure. I'm confused and I'm scared shitless. Pour. Bro, pour. Listen to this man. He hefted his own large bag of salt and began making a wide circle, one large enough to fit us both. Looking behind him, I could see there was already a similar salt line at the back, stretching from wall to wall. Oh my god. I had no idea what was happening, but I never seen brushes be anything other than laid back and chill my entire time there. And that was enough to get me to listen. As I poured, I took a peek through the round window in the swinging doors and spotted the family still sitting there. They still hadn't moved. This is really fucking creepy, I muttered under my breath. Once my line of salt had been poured and double-checked, Brushes pointed to the inside of a circle and pressed a finger to his lips. Tiptoeing to the wall, he carefully opened the circuit box. Then, taking a deep breath, he switched off the breakers, plunging the entire restaurant into darkness and turning off the lights outside. In the next instant, he leaped to join me in the middle of the circle. One heartbeat later, I heard the most ungodly shrinking from the dining area. I clamped my hands over my ears, but it didn't help. It was like the sound waves were made of a broken glass. My skin felt like it was being peeled off. My eardrums screamed. I started to fall over and stopped abruptly only partway down. Brushes had twisted the collar of my shirt around his hand. I'd almost fallen outside the circle. Another shrink rolled over me and I sobbed in confusion and pain. My muscle clenched into knots as I fought an instinctive urge to run. Brush's grip tightened, keeping me grounded. Just then, the swinging door blasted open and the rolling inky mass slithered and sloped its way inside. You'd think it would be too dark to see anything, but there were so many mouths, so many teeth, so many eyes. The space filled with the scent of rot and tar. This was the family. I reached and clamped my hands over my mouth to keep the vomit down. The mass glided and spitted its way to the very edge of the salt line and stretched horizontally along its entire length. I understood why there was a circle now. If there had been the slightest gap in the line or between the line and the wall, I'd have slithered its way across. My eyes burned the longer I looked. I felt something warm drop onto my hand. I thought it was tears. It was a nosebleed. As the screams reached higher. Bruce shouted, "Close your eyes!" I clamped my hands over my ears, screwed my eyes shut, and sobbed. Eventually, I don't know how long, the screaming stopped. I must have passed out right after because when I came to, it was dawn. Every muscle and bone in my body ached when I stood up. My face was crusted with dry tears, snot, and blood. Brucius was red-eyed and bedraggled. He was using the special broom, the one that said "Do not use" in Sharpie on the handle to sweep all of the salt into a large dustpan with the same directive. The salt had turned a smoky blue and smelled like sulfur and gasoline. Perhaps it was the daylight. Perhaps it was surviving the single most terrifying night of my life. But when I spoke, my voice was surprisingly calm, even though it sounded like I chewed and swallowed broken glass. "I'm going to wash my face, then I'm going to make us coffee, and then you're going to tell me what the hell that was." He nodded, mumbled, "Yeah," and kept sweeping. I was half tempted to turn the sign at the door to close, but it would just my luck if the manager appeared out of nowhere when I did. Besides, the place was empty. Or, despite the commotion, the diner was in perfect order, like nothing ever happened. What was that? He took a long drag, as toying with telling me the truth or not. But after last night, it was too late to lie. "They're called the family. I never seen them before, but Carrie, the waiters before you and Sheer, worked here for a few years and said they showed up once in a while." He paused as if expecting me to say something. I took a long sip and he kept on. "The first clue was they didn't have a car. They just appeared, I don't even know from where, and walked in. The second is how they dress. Where did they came from? I don't know, but the lore is a family disappeared on the highway decades ago. And when they came back, they were dead. And y'all didn't think to tell me this when I got hired? Well, would you accept? Would you have believed it? I guess not. There's a reason the pay is so good." There is good pay? "What about the salt? The lights? Listen, I don't know all the rules and she didn't either, but before this place was built, apparently there were a lot of more disappearances. People would get off at the exit because they thought they saw a sign for food or gas, take a turn, and never seen again. But now people just stop here, right off the highway and right back on. But that means when the family gets hungry, they come here." "Yeah, that's why you went straight to the back?" "Yeah, I needed to get started." "And you turn it off the light so no one stops while you're here?" "Yeah." "What about the salt?" He went quiet. "You saw why." At the moment, the door opened and a couple with toddler entered. A real family, oblivious. We stopped talking. I took their order and Brucius heated up the grill. There was nothing else to do. This happened a few weeks ago. But I'm still working there. What? Corporate gave us an extra bonus check with that incident. was reported, which got me in a cheap hotel with a decent bed and shower for a little while. I'm still applying for jobs, but no one else had called me for an interview. I'm alive because of brushes. But he just hired a corrections officer at the prison and is leaving. He was just hired as a corrections officer at the prison and is leaving soon. I might delete this later, but I need to share this with someone where no one will know who I was or judge me. What do you think I should do? Well, first thing first, there is nothing to judge, bro. Uh, I think you are very lucky that you had a coworker like Brucius. Like if you didn't, you would have been eaten, my friend. Like shout out to Brucius. Like, bro, you are amazing. And I hope everyone has a nice coworker like that to, you know, um, have their back. And yes, the answer is yes, you should fucking quit this job because this is not okay. This is a beautiful story. I loved reading it, and even though I know it's not real, I got shivers from it. So tell me, what would you do if this family will come into your diner late at night?